Hello, good evening, everyone. Can any one of you just confirm if I'm audible?
Yes, ma'am. Audible.
Okay, thank you. So, yeah, once again, good evening to each one of you, and I warmly welcome each one of you to KGF Learning. And I again welcome you to this session on portfolio management and investment analysis, wherein we'll not just be talking about, the different investment avenues. We'll also be exploring areas where you as beginners can enter and, start learning from. Also, we have our expert here, who is Mr. Saurabh. Shortly, you will be getting to hear from him. But at this moment, I just want to mention that, he has specifically found time to be here with all of you. So make the most use of this time. I ask as many questions as you can from him because trust me, he's the best person who can guide you on questions related to investment, tax, chartered accounting, anything that you wish to ask from him. So yeah, let us begin with today's session. And before we begin, I just want to hear from all of you. Are we excited to learn something new? So are we here because we feel that yes, we are going to learn something today? If it's a yes, let us know in the chat box. Well, I hope you guys are there and excited and, have a lot of questions in mind already. So, well, with that thought, let us begin. Next slide, please, Mish. Right. So it's always better to, talk about who we are and why we are here. So I would like to give sort of an opportunity to please introduce himself. It's an honor to have you here. So let's start with your introduction, Saurabh. Yeah.
Thank you, Bhavya. Thank you, everyone who has joined. Uh, so I have actually 10 plus of years of experience working for consulting business. I've worked for KPMG and BDO, EY, PwC in past. I've worked with all the portfolio management business as well as for the new IPOs. So I was involved in multiple IPOs, whether it is Paytm, Zomato, or or any other IPO. So I'm involved in most of the IPOs with all these big fours. So I have a handful of experience working with multiple portfolio firms as well as managing my biggest portfolio. I have a portfolio around 10 crores now. Manage a equity portfolio of 10 crores. So this is all I have. So I'm happy to give you insights about how I pick up the stocks, how I invest in the market. So I'm really excited for this session. I'm currently in UK. I manage a UK business now, where I guide the clients how to invest in the UK market. So I'm happy to share the insights with you.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction, Saurabh, and I'm sure we all are waiting to hear your valuable insights. So I guess all of you know me, but yet a very brief introduction again about me. My name is Kavra. I am a valuation analyst at EY. Prior to that, I have also completed my MBA in finance and also a BCom honors graduate. Again, as I've always said, and I believe that investment in knowledge pays the best interest. With this, I would like to quote, I would like to quote here a quotation by Warren Buffett, which says that the best investment that you can make is an investment in yourself. The more you learn, the more you learn. And I have always believed in that ideology, and I keep working with the same mindset. So I'm here so I can share my knowledge, experiences, learn a lot from you guys, and yes, talk a lot about investment, portfolio management, etc. So without any further ado, let us begin and speak on a few important concepts. Next slide. Okay, so let me ask all of you some questions. Tell me, are you an active trader or an investor? Yes. Do you see yourself as a trader in the market, or are you somebody who looks for a long-term perspective and is an investor? Okay, Umesh is an investor. Great. It'll be great to interact with you, Umesh. So what is your trading philosophy? Like, do you look for stocks in the short run? Do you look for scalping? Do you like doing a lot of intraday trading? Are you somebody who likes to just invest and forget about it because you want to make a lot of money using TVM or the concept of compounding? Well, it's a way where we need to think that whether trading is for us or investment, right? But as beginners, I think both of us would suggest you that go for investing, accumulate funds for the future, and maximize your wealth. Well, here's a short quiz for all of you. If you could guess this one, can you try and guess this company or this brand, which is an Indian multinational conglomerate headquartered in Ahmedabad, and recently, because of a fear of loss in this counter, the LIC stock had hit the lowest circuit. So, can any one of you guess which stock am I talking about?
Adani Enterprise.
Yeah, that's correct. Okay, spot on point. Let's move to the next one. So I have another one for you. As you can see, the shares of this company rallied, at a 52-week high recently. Can we move to the previous slide, Umesh? Okay, so as you can see, the shares rallied to all-time high, and this stock is a central public sector undertaking under the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. Can you guess this one? Anyone, any hints, any idea which stock am I talking about? So it was recently in the news because it had hit the 52-week high price. Adani Gas and Petroleum. No, it's not Adani. Think of something else. So it's related to petroleum and natural gas, and it's a PSU. Okay, I'll give you a hint. It's a four-letter word, right? All in capital letters, based out in New Delhi. So they have their headquarters in New Delhi.
ONGC.
No, it's GAIL. Okay, so it's Gas Authority of India Limited. Anyway, so this was a very technical one, I believe. We also have a short one. We also have a very interesting quiz for all of you. So now let's move to the next slide and see if how many of them could you answer. Okay, so the challenge is you have to guess the mascot here, right? So the objective is that visuals sometimes are more memorable than the human mind for the human minds than the words themselves. And maybe for that reason, we look at the candlestick patterns and the chart patterns of the stock, so we remember the trends, we analyze the various patterns. So tell me, how many of the mascots could you guess from this image? And can all of you name a few of them? Well, I see Vodafone right there. That's all. Now it's up to you guys to guess.
Amul, Nirma,
Okay.
Pate,
Okay.
Ambuja, Sunfeast,
I see Boomer too. Yeah. Amul.
Boomer also.
Yeah. Saurabh, would you like to guess a few? Any biscuit brand, guys? I mean, I remember we used to have a lot of this.
Tiger.
Air
Tiger.
India,
Yeah.
Tiger,
There's one near the fan, which.
Parle,
Yeah.
Ji. Yeah.
Sunfeast.
That's Sun. Yeah, exactly. So I was about to say Sunfeast. What about the
Maybe
airlines?
this guy like MDH wale chacha.
Okay, perfect. So I hope that now we are more full of energy and ready to learn. Well, let me tell you that there are more than 30 mascots in this image. So I'll send this image over to you guys so you can keep exploring, ask your friends and family, spread it in the WhatsApp groups, and then get as many as you can, right? Another example that we can take from, or another learning we can take from this exercise, is that brands are very popularly using such mascots. Why do you think they're doing that? Anyone who wants to try answering that? Why do you think organizations and companies use a mascot to identify their brand? What are they trying to achieve? Anyone? So when you see a mascot, don't you associate it directly with the company's image, right? It reminds you of what kind of products and services the company provides, which indeed is a very important fundamental factor that you must also consider while evaluating or, while investing in a stock. What really matters is how the company is positioning its products and services in the minds of the consumers, which we normally call the value proposition that the brand has created. Well, yeah, I know it's not a marketing webinar here, but again, I wanted to bring in some sort of fun element to it. Moving on, let us now finally talk about investment, portfolio, and a lot of other concepts. So over to you, Saurabh. Let's hear from you now.
For investing and trading, I think the important part to differentiate between the two. Recently, so there's thing happened called Adani, where a lot of stock actually dipped to their 52 low. So what is the difference between the people who actually invest and trade? Most of the people who panic during this period are those who actually trade rather than those who invest. They say, I think I have a significant portfolio in Adani stocks. I did not panic during the time and did not sold my stocks because I have a belief that probably the situation is wrong this time. The things would come up, in coming quarter or let's say in few months, the thing would stabilize and thing would improve. जिन्होंने भी अपना स्टॉक सेल ऑफ किया दे वर द शॉर्ट टर्म ट्रेडर्स जो जो एक दिन में या एक महीने में पैसा कमाना चाह रहे थे, उन लोगों ने अपना स्टॉक सेल ऑफ किया, इसलिए मार्केट में 52 वीक्स लो आया. दिस इज अ सेपरेट डिस्कशन फॉर इट कि अदानी कितना अदानी की रिपोर्ट्स में क्या इश्यूज थे, क्या प्रॉब्लम थी. बट talking about what happens for the investing, how to differentiate between the people जो इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं या ट्रेड कर रहे हैं, वो बहुत इजी है डिफरेंशिएट करना. जो लोग डेली बेसिस पे मार्केट को एनालाइज करते हैं और देखते हैं कि मेरा स्टॉक अगर बढ़ गया तो लेट्स सेल इट आउट, मेरा स्टॉक अगर गिर गया है तो लेट्स सी कि हम कितना स्टॉप लॉस हटाकर उसको बेच सकते हैं, थोड़े से मार्जिन आ जाए तो लेट मी सेल द स्टॉक. जो चार्ट्स को पढ़ते हैं, the people who study charts on a daily basis are those who are traders rather than people who understand the fundamental of companies. Let's say if I understand the fundamental of company, I would have invested in the ITC. If anyone is following the ITC stock, it started from 150 in few years back. It was in 150. Now it has crossed 250 line. So those who understand the fundamentals and have a belief long term may this company would perform much better than the price I have today, I would invest in that stock rather than looking at the chart. So this is a summary of differentiating between the people who actually invest and those who trade on the daily basis. So of course, if you trade on the daily basis, your risk profile is high. I'm just giving you the factors which is mentioned here in the screen. So आपका टाइम होराइजन बहुत शॉर्ट होगा, आपकी ट्रेड फ्रीक्वेंसी, नंबर ऑफ ट्रेड्स बहुत ज्यादा होंगे क्योंकि आप ट्रेड कर रहे हैं, आप डेली बेसिस पे ट्रेड कर रहे हैं, आप नंबर ऑफ स्टॉक ज्यादा उठाएंगे क्योंकि आपको मार्जिन पे प्ले करना है. द पर्सन हु इन्वेस्ट एक्चुअली शुड हैव अ बिग कैपिटल बिकॉज ट्रेडिंग में यू डोंट नीड अ कंप्लीट amount of money. Let's say you trade a $10 stock for 10 stocks, so it's come out to be $100. You don't need $100 for trading, but for investing you need $100. So इसलिए if you look at the trade frequency is much higher in trading. Risk comparatively high होता है क्योंकि आप charts बहुत पढ़ रहे हैं, आपके टाइप एनालिसिस शॉर्ट टर्म एनालिसिस करते हैं और रिटर्न्स के रिस्क बहुत ज्यादा होते हैं ट्रेडिंग में. वर्सेस द इन्वेस्टिंग इज मोर अबाउट स्टडिंग द कंपनी और आपको लगता है कि फ्यूचर में कंपनी कितना अच्छा परफॉर्म कर सकती है. Just to give you an example, for now there is a buzz in the market where people is talking about electric cars. Electric segment की बहुत ज़्यादा buzz है. So if you feel that the electric is something which is a future for the country, you will invest in electric stocks. And वो बहुत ज्यादा वो लोग करेंगे जो इन्वेस्टिंग सेगमेंट में आते हैं. ट्रेडिंग सेगमेंट पीपल वुड नॉट पिक अप दोस स्टॉक्स बिकॉज डे टू डे इतना प्रॉफिट उस पे जनरेट नहीं हो पाएगा. सो दिस इज अ ब्रीफ अबाउट ट्रेडिंग एंड इन्वेस्टिंग.
Perfect. I think you very well summarized it, Saurabh. I just wanted to add a few points here, like exactly in conclusion of what you said. we should also consider here that, there is one side of the market where we talk about technical analysis. Then we also talk about fundamental analysis. So we should never get confused as to which kind of analysis is used when, right? So as he said that when you trade, the number of trades you take are more. But then always remember that when you invest, you are always in a long position. When I say long, I mean you are on the buying side of the market. You would, as an investor, you will always have this expectation that I want ki market upar hi jaye, right? But what if the market falls? That is when people overtrade to hedge their position, which is there in investment. So always make sure that if you face losses in the short run, but you are very confident about the stocks you have picked up, and you know that the stocks are very good fundamental stocks, you don't have to fear about the market going up and down. Eventually you will have a good capital appreciation on the stocks. But yes, at the same time, when you trade, you should also take calculated risk, right? Because as he said, that the returns in trading might be more. You might enter into derivative contracts, right? You might enter into options, and you might take a put option. If you hear a news of Adani going down, that might fetch you good amount of profit, but that is a very temporary profit, right? That's something that can even lead to a huge loss. So always take a calculated risk. We are not saying that only go for investment or only go for trading. Yes, the whole concept of portfolio works around in diversification, right? You should be able to pool your resources in a manner that eventually you end up in a good profitable position. So that's about investment and trading. Moving on. Yeah, so again, maybe you guys can spend a minute on this. So the objective of this slide is to tell you that, when you try to analyze the stocks fundamentally, or rather for investment purposes, you might start with understanding what the entire economy does, right? So you might want to move from a macroeconomic variable to a microeconomic variable. When I say macro to micro, so अगर आपने कभी broker reports देखी है, या if you have seen the valuation reports of these top investment banks, say Barclays, HSBC की broker reports आती हैं, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, right, Goldman Sachs, these investment banks provide a lot of credit ratings and equity research reports. तो आपने देखा होगा that they generally start with what the European market or the Indian market has to offer. Post that, then they enter into what kind of industry are we talking about. Post the industry, we talk about the specific company and then forecast the future for that company. So this kind of an analysis and investment is called top-down analysis. Simultaneously, bottoms up would be when you start with understanding the company first. So it's moving from micro to macro. So we must understand the difference between these two before we start studying about the various investment avenues. We should know that if you're trying to analyze a stock, how do we go about analyzing it? We cannot just directly start researching on what the stock has to offer. We must also know what kind of industry is it a part of, what are the average multiples in that particular industry, and whether my company is over or undervalued in that industry first. So when I always talk about analysis, remember, analysis is not restricted to a company's own performance, right? It has to be both an intra and an inter-firm comparison. You have to compare the performance of the firm with its own financials in the previous year, while at the same time compare the performance of the firm with its peers in the same industry, right? So yeah, that was one point we wanted to make here. Anything you want to add, Saurabh?
One thing I want to add here is these analyses are done only when we are doing a fundamental analysis. जब आप ट्रेडिंग करते हैं, ये these analysis are not applicable, because for the trading you would look कि चार्ट कैसा परफॉर्म कर रहा है. फॉर एग्जांपल योर चार्ट हैज बीन इन द अपवर्ड ट्रेल, तो आप इन्वेस्ट करोगे फॉर बिलीव कि वो अप जाएगा या फॉल करेगा डिपेंडिंग ऑन द चार्ट कौन सा बन रहा है, रादर देन गोइंग इनटू द टॉप डाउन अप्रोच और बॉटम डाउन अप्रोच. ये सिर्फ तब एप्लीकेबल होता है जब यू आर प्लानिंग टू इन्वेस्ट फॉर अ लॉन्ग टर्म ऑब्जेक्टिव. तो फंडामेंटल एनालिसिस के लिए ये एप्लीकेबल होगा, फॉर ट्रेडिंग इट वुड नॉट बी एप्लीकेबल.
Absolutely correct. So again, in the short run, you would not be concerned much about कि company की financial performance कैसी है. You would be concerned more about कि उस stock के volume में कितना momentum है, isn't it? So yeah. Okay, let's move ahead. very interesting slide. Let's have a good discussion around this. So yeah, let's start, Saurabh. Anything you want to start with?
I think I've already mentioned this trader bit. So whenever you don't have a understanding of a business, rather than if you believe that something would go based on your luck or that would perform on the basis of your study of a chart, it somewhere fall into a trader or speculator versus the people who believe that a particular top-down approach or a bottom approach would perform in some other way. They would actually go for a investing belief where they invest in the particular stock with certain time horizon for like 3 years 4 years depending on कौन सा stock और कौन सा market में आप invest कर रहे हैं. So I think just to categorize these three, I think that would be a right definition to that.
Absolutely. I think, speculators are people who just play on bets. They don't take calculated risk. They just, it's like playing on bets. You might hear your friend buying a particular stock and you just go for it. You're speculating it just because you feel or you have an intuition that the price might go up or down. That is something you should definitely avoid in the market because by luck, it might work one or twice, but then again, in the end, it won't really work for the future, right? So always be a valued investor, always be somebody who values good stocks and then invest in the same. Or else if you're a trader, try to pick up stocks, where you are with conviction, you can say that yes, it will move in that particular direction, only if the chart patterns support what you feel. So yeah, we would now like to talk about a few investment avenues that are open for all of us and we can invest in them. So
I
yeah.
think I think I want to add one thing. If you've seen a lot of investment advice या आपको messages आते हैं कि invest in particular stock, ये stock बहुत अच्छा perform करेगा. Today this stock would perform if you are connected with multiple people जो brokers हैं तो हर दिन एक message आता है in that ये stock buy करो, you will earn a lot of money. See, understand from a market perspective, no one would give you a free lunch saying that कि ये वाला stock खरीद लो और इसमें profit बनेगा. ये भी surety नहीं होती. They do it. They actually wanted to make you in the part of a bull run where they give the similar advice to multiple people और जिससे लोग buy करना शुरू कर देते हैं और upward curve बनने लग जाता है stock में. And they are not interested whether you make money or not. They are much more interested कि वो पैसा बना पाएंगे क्योंकि upward run आ जाएगा. So make sure you actually analyze those stock before believing those bets. क्योंकि बहुत सारे लोग who come to me for the consultation to discussing about the portfolio, उनके साथ ये कभी ना कभी हो रखा होता है. So just wanted to make sure कि आप लोग ऐसे ट्रैक में ना पड़े.
I think it's quite relevant here. We as when we start investing, the first thing we do is get added to 50 odd Telegram channels जो हमें free tips provide करे, and then we go about it. And end में we have nobody to blame कि इतना ज़्यादा loss कैसे हो गया, and then we go back to the same people saying कि आप recover करा दो. So guys, avoid
But
this.
we understand why would they will give you a free lunch. कौन free में tip देता? I don't give a free tip to anyone, and no one would do. See, everyone wants something for a thing. अगर इतना ही सबको पता होता, why would they not invest in that stock and earn a big money rather than giving the advice?
Yeah. Yeah, time is money, right? I mean, I would also like to say here that if you feel you are good at something, never do it for free because time has value, right? And that is also what we study here in finance, time value of money. So, well, very off concepts, but yeah, I think it's a learning you should take from this session, definitely. Okay, so as you can see, I think sort of most of them might have heard of these avenues. Maybe quickly we can just walk them through the different investment options they have. Let's start with you. Anything you wanted to touch upon?
I think fixed deposit is very common practice जो लोग करते हैं. मतलब every family has some set of people जिनको लगता है कि fixed deposit में invest कर देना चाहिए. Life में सब बढ़िया होगा, fixed deposit में invest कर देना चाहिए. इंश्योरेंस प्रोडक्ट आई थिंक मोस्ट ऑफ पीपल नो जिसका कोई यूजलेस चीजें हैं कि आप एक बार डाल दो पैसा, आप फ्यूचर में कुछ होगा तो आप ले सकते हो. दिस इज वेरी हेल्पफुल आल्सो एट सम पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम. लाइक हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस आई फील इज अ वेरी helpful product. कार इंश्योरेंस मैंडेटरी है इंडिया में लेना, बट फॉर अदर प्रोडक्ट आई थिंक दे मोर ऑफ मार्जिन बेस्ड बिजनेस जहाँ पे इतना बेनिफिट नहीं है. रियल एस्टेट इन्वेस्टमेंट यू नीड अ लॉट ऑफ मनी फॉर दैट. आई थिंक आप इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हो. ऑफ कोर्स द रिस्क इज कंपैरेटिवली डिफरेंट इन दिस मार्केट, बट आपको एक बड़ा अमाउंट ऑफ मनी चाहिए होता है टू सेलेक्ट राइट रियल एस्टेट प्रॉपर्टी. Derivatives, it's all about buying the future and options. जो बहुत risky है. I would not suggest anyone to go directly to derivative. First start with the equity shares and then move to a derivative stocks. Money market instruments are the daily instruments. जैसे so they basically are interest instruments. Bond instruments की तरह होता है. Daily basis पे trade होते हैं and you can buy for a month or a week depending upon क्या उसका क्या interest rate चल रहा है. I think government scheme सबको पता है कि normal government scheme चलती रहती है 6% 8% kind of post deposit FD की तरह होता है, but the risk is comparatively less because of government intervention in that. Kavya, you want me to explain others or you want to take this?
I mean, it's fine. I think you've quite well told them that, you know, traditionally, as we said, that our parents or rather our grandparents, in fact, some of them still have this notion that, you know, something that fetches you a safe return is worth it. But again, if you're earning 6% in a bank deposit, tell me, why would you want to move to stock markets? Why would you want to move to equity, right? You need some premium over that 6% of a basic rate of interest that a bank is providing. तो अगेन यू नो वो एक इंसेंटिव बनता है ऑफ व्हाई वी एज ह्यूमंस और अदर एज इन्वेस्टर्स हम रिस्क लेते हैं. व्हाई वुड यू टेक रिस्क, टेल मी? बिकॉज कुछ एडिशनल तो चाहिए ना. रिस्क है तो इश्क है वाली बात है. तो अगर इश्क करना ही है, रिस्क लेना ही है, तो कुछ एडिशनल चाहिए. तो एडिशनल क्या है? दैट इज द प्रीमियम दैट यू वुड वांट द मार्केट टू ऑफर यू, राइट? सो द ऑब्जेक्टिव इज कि सारे ही इन्वेस्टमेंट एवेन्यूज को आप कैटेगराइज कर सकते हो on the basis of their returns, their risk profiling, the transaction cost, you know, whether they are exchange traded, they are over the counter instruments. So what works for you might not work for the other person, right? Again, it depends on कि आपका time horizon कितना है, आपके पास कितना pool of surplus है जिसको आप accumulate करना चाहते हो या आप उसको diversify करना चाहते हो. You know, the reason we wanted to talk about this is because portfolio management में एक बहुत important concept होता है diversification का. As they say that, you know, do not put all your eggs in one basket. Why do you think it is said like that? क्योंकि अगर एक बार बास्केट गिर गया ना तो सारे अंडे तो गए, कुछ नहीं बचेगा, isn't it? So diversification मतलब आप दो ऐसे या कुछ ऐसे पूल ऑफ रिसोर्सेज बनाते हो जिनका कोरिलेशन आपस में नेगेटिव हो कि यार चलो एक नहीं भी चला तो दूसरा तो चल जाएगा ना. एंड हेंस वी से दैट अगर आपके पेरेंट्स आज भी गोल्ड में इन्वेस्ट करके रखते हैं तो दे हैव अ रीजन फॉर दैट, राइट? दे नो दैट it's a precious metal. It might fetch you some return if you make loss in the stock market or if the bank returns don't provide you enough returns. Again, since we've talked about the first few, again, mutual funds सबको पता है. As beginners तो हमारा बहुत ही ज्यादा इंटरेस्ट होता है in investing in, you know, debt mutual funds, equity mutual funds. There are even hybrid and tax saving mutual funds. But again, you know, if again the market is not performing well, overall your mutual fund might not give you a very positive return. But there have been a lot of equity mutual funds which have given more than 25 to 50% of return over the years. So again, it depends on you, right? But if you want to do active trading, अगर आप एक active investor हो, it's better कि आप खुद का portfolio खुद manage करके देखो. Otherwise, if you want to or leave it in an autopilot mode, that is when mutual funds help you invest your resources as a pool in different asset classes, right? Bonds and debts, fixed income securities, they have a fixed obligation to pay. So then, you know, the retirement products such as PPF, provident fund, आपको अपना pensions मिलती हैं. If you your spouse has been working in a government organization, there are a lot of alternative investments which is, you know, something that you would read or study more about अगर आप CFA या एक बहुत professional course करते हो. Alternate investments are not very prevalent in India as of now, but yeah, all these are good investment avenues that you can try and explore, or you can at least try start reading about these instruments, right? Because सबके अपने pros and cons हैं. So yeah, that's all I say. And I think it depends on you, right? How you want to categorize or play around with these instruments. Might not invest in all, might invest in just two, but the objective is wealth maximization and probably some additional income in the form of, say, dividends or some sort of passive income. So that is all I would say. Anything else, Saurabh, you want to say?
So one of the very important part here is diversification. So even I invest in the stock market from a long time now, I still have some investment in mutual fund. I have some investment in FDs so that I can diversify my portfolio. I still have investment in bonds. I still have investment in golds so that I can have some bit of risk diversification. So if you understand that the gold has a negative correlation with the market, it actually the gold has a tendency that it will go up when the market will fall. So I have that. Since my portfolio is big, I have to have a multiple sources of uh, income from multiple assets, so that in case I'm not able to earn money from market, I have some money from a FDs or a gold. So diversification is very important. And for the beginners, if you're starting with the market, I think the best thing is to start with a mutual fund. Mutual fund actually has a lot of the benefit depending on कहाँ से invest कर रहे हैं और कौन सा mutual fund select कर रहे हैं. Mutual fund actually give you a lot of insight about the company. They give a lot of reports about the company. वो कैसे invest करते हैं, the method of investing, the right time of picking the stock. I think these are things you can learn from the reports, which is easily available on the apps you invest. Like I use ET Money. ET Money पे बहुत detail में analysis रहता है कि how they have picked the stock and what was the basis of allocation of the stocks और उन्हें किस टाइम पे पिक किया. Like let's say to give you an example, if someone is bullish on Adani और LIC, उनको लगता है कि फ्यूचर में बहुत बढ़ेगा, तो this is a time to buy it because going on the lower side. And if you buy it now, you will earn a lot of money rather than you have buy it on the peak side. So this is a strategy you can learn from the mutual fund companies. Or ET Money, I think, is one of the platform which give all these details. These two things I wanted to add.
Perfect. I think this was something we all wanted to know, that, we struggle with kahan se kya information milega. So again, guys, for mutual funds, do turn into ET Money's website and try to explore that more. We would try to talk about more sources of information at the end of the session. But yes, we want you to be exploring and getting good knowledge before you start investing in these avenues. Great. So, okay, at this point, are we here, guys? Anything you guys want to know, or are we here? Maybe another yes in the chat box will help us identify that, yes, you guys are listening to us. So I would like to see a few, yes, I'm excited, wala energy again. Quickly, just type a yes in the chat and let us know that you're there. Hi, I'm present. Come on. Okay, perfect. So we can proceed ahead. Yes, next slide, please. Okay, so would you like to take this up, Saurabh, or should I?
You can take it.
All right. So, guys, again, very, very important slide, I would say. These are some of the evaluation criterias. I think, again, we've broadly talked about them, but still wanted to reiterate that just have a look on the screen and let's have a look at the first slide, right? So what would ultimately decide whether you are going ahead with the investment or not? It would be the rate of return you generate with the minimum risk that you take in that particular stock, right? So anyone who would like to quote, how do you calculate returns in general? Can you tell me how would you calculate if, say, you entered into a stock at a price of 90 rupees and now the price of the stock is 120? Tell me, how would you calculate the return on the stock? Anyone who wants to give it a try? I want to hear from you guys. Let's make it interactive. Yes, Shashank, would you like to try? It's a very simple question, guys. 90 rupees की चीज 120 हो गई है. I'm asking that how would you calculate कि आपने कितना कमाया? What is the return that you generated on this investment of 90 rupees?
With the help of ratios, ma'am, maybe return on
Okay. रेशियोज ठीक है, बट आप ये बताओ कोई चीज 90 से 120 हो गई, कितना परसेंटेज आपने कमाया वो? ये कैसे निकालोगे आप?
percentage change calculation with the help of
एग्जैक्टली हाँ, तो मैं यही पूछ रही थी कि रिटर्न्स कैसे कैलकुलेट होते हैं. इट इज सिंपली द रिटर्न विद कैपिटल अप्रिसिएशन माइनस योर इनिशियल इन्वेस्टमेंट डिवाइडेड बाय द इनिशियल इन्वेस्टमेंट. सो बेसिकली आप क्या कर रहे हो, 120 माइनस 90 डिवाइडेड बाय 90, राइट? तो आप देख रहे हो कि अगर मैंने 90 इन्वेस्ट किया, मुझे ओवर एंड अबव कितना मिला डिवाइडेड बाय माय बेस अमाउंट. तो इस दिस इज द रिटर्न दैट यू नॉर्मली गेट, बट इसके ओवर एंड अबव आपको एक और चीज मिल सकती है, which is the dividends that you might receive on that stock, right? So you receive two things on any investment: the capital appreciation of that particular stock plus the dividends or any sort of a rental income, or rather any passive income that in the form of regular periodic income that you might receive, right? वो दोनों को आप calculation में लेके consider करोगे while calculating कि आपका rate of return कितना है. When I talk about risk, again, for people who are doing the course already, they know that risk in finance is calculated using standard deviation, right? And standard deviation को use करके हम total risk calculate करते हैं, and then we categorize the risk into various categories. Again, beta is a measure of volatility, right? Beta measure करता है कि कोई भी stock कितना volatile है as compared to the market returns. Again, so we should one parameter, one criteria on the basis of which you will analyze or do an investment analysis is rate of return and the risk profile of that particular investment, right? Again, your investment should be marketable. When I say marketable, it means it should be liquid, it should be transacted quickly. It shouldn't take 3 odd days or 15 odd days to get transacted. The transaction cost of that particular investment should be low. The price change, the frequency with which the price is changing a lot should be low. The investors should value the liquidity. Why do you think we value liquidity? हम cash flow statement क्यों देखते हैं, या हम कोई भी liquidity ratios क्यों calculate करते हैं? Why? Because as investors we value this element of liquidity. Why? क्योंकि हमें लगता है कि हमसे अगर कोई error हो गई, suppose I didn't want to enter into this stock, गलती हो गई, I should be able to quickly recover or correct that error and modify my investment in line with the objectives that I have as an investor, right? The marketability element बहुत important होता है while taking investment decisions. Again, tax shelter. There are a lot of instruments that lead to tax benefits. ATC deduction. कितना deduction मिलता है ATC में? Anyone? Maximum benefit आप कितना ले सकते हो? Does anyone know? Any tax enthusiast? 1.5 lakhs. Saurabh, is he right?
Yes, I believe.
Okay. So
3
1.5
lakh plus
lakh,
50 crore. Yeah,
1.5 lakh.
5 lakhs. And 50,000 NPS के लिए separate है. So
ओके हाँ, तो मतलब 1.5 लाख तक आप डेट या जो आपके टैक्स सेविंग इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स है उस पे ले सकते हो. फॉर एग्जांपल आपकी वही व्हाट आर द सम ऑफ द सोर्सेज, आप पीपीएफ अकाउंट में इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हो, टैक्स सेविंग म्यूचुअल फंड्स में इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हो, देन यू हैव एनएसपी, नेशनल सेविंग सर्टिफिकेट. सो मेनी थिंग्स कैन लीड टू टैक्स सेविंग. अगेन there are 3 types of tax. Initial tax benefit जो आप initially ही किसी investment पे ले सकते हो. For example, आपने pensions लिया या कोई भी anything in which you can take a ATC deduction as per the Income Tax Act is the initial tax benefit. Then there is also a continuing tax benefit which is associated with the periodical returns on the investment. For example, अगर आप zero coupon bonds या फिर tax free bonds में invest करते हो, they have the tax on them is totally exempt. I'm not a tax person, but again, I'm trying my best to tell you that some investment, one of the criteria on which you could judge an investment is also the tax shelter that they provide, right? Because everybody would want to save tax, including me. Why not, right? Okay, so and another very important criteria is the convenience that the investment provides, right? There should be an ease of investment. You should be able to answer 2 questions. Does this investment is this investment readily available to me? If yes, that's a good way to go ahead, right? Can it be looked after and liquidated easily? Again, marketability aspect to it. If your investment, clearly passes all the 4 stages, you are good to go and make this investment. So just some of the criteria that you must consider, according to me, that we felt we could mention here. So
I
yeah,
think
and that
one more thing I want to add here. If anyone who is interested buying the stock which is not listed, let's say you know about the company called Boot, which Aman Gupta is owner, Shark Tank, सब देख रहे होंगे. So they have a unlisted shares in the market which you can buy. But the biggest risk of buying those stocks is they don't have a liquidity. You cannot easily sell off. So I hold around 40,000 shares of Boot, and the only issue with them is even the price may increase. Uh, Even the Mamaearth is also selling in the market, in the unlisted market. You can buy those shares. The only risk they have is either if they have gone for an IPO, you can sell off in the market. But if they're not gone for the IPO, the risk is that it's very difficult to offload those shares, even though the price increases. The Boot car, when I've started, the price was around 1450, and now the price is almost like 2700 something. But still, the issue is the price may have increased, but the only problem is I cannot offload those shares because easily market may no one will buy those shares. So it's very important to buy a share which can be easily offloaded. If I've brought the shares of, let's say, Nestle or a brand which is tradable in NSE or a BSE, it's easy to sell the stocks in a one click. So I think that's one of the very important factor to be taken care of, and that's the reason people actually wanted to invest in the uh, mutual funds or a shares which is tradable in the market. Even the FDs, if you invest in the fixed returns basis, the FDs, they take a lot of time to get diluted. Let's say if you need a money, you have taken an FD for 3 years and you need a money in like after 1 year. It's a difficult job. But whereas if you invest in the shares or a mutual fund, you can easily sell off those shares in a one click and you will get the money in your account. So that is an important factor why taking your investment decision. I think that's an important thing.
perfect. Yeah, I think liquidity, how liquid that stock is, how marketable it is, right?
Hmm.
So, yeah, very well said, Saurabh. Thanks for that valuable insight. And I hope you guys gained some sort of a new insight to this.
एक और important चीज है. So tax play a very important role. Whenever your portfolio is big, tax play an important role. So what happens is if you sell off the shares in the market and you get that money, the return you have earned, and if you fell in the bracket of 30%, 30% government ले जाती है. So if you earn 10 lakh rupees a year, 3%, 3 lakh you have to pay to the government. And when it comes to the tax saving schemes, that has to be taken care of by the investor who is investing, because जहाँ पे हमें benefit हो सकता है tax का, your proportionate return would increase. So you will always select those stocks or those investments where the tax is lower and the chances of return is higher, so that your return substantiates. So let's say, let me give you an example. If you invest in a Trump stock called a quant bond mutual fund, this is an actual mutual fund, which is a quant mutual fund, and it's a tax saving mutual fund and give a return of a 7% a year. And the another investment which gives a return of a 12% but a 30% tax rate, because you have to pay the tax. And for the 7% you don't need to pay the tax. So you have to understand कि मुझे 7% वाला लेना है या 12% लेना है, पर 12% मुझे 30% टैक्स देना पड़ेगा. तो यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड कि आपको कौन सा वाला लेना है और कौन सा मुझे ज्यादा बेनिफिशियल होगा, डिपेंडिंग ऑन द स्लैब रेट्स यू आर. सो लेट्स से आपका स्लैब रेट 30% वाला है, तो आपको उस हिसाब से देखना पड़ेगा. आपका स्लैब रेट है ही नहीं, you're not in the slab rate because you're not paying any taxes. आपका 5 लाख से नीचे है, 4 लाख से नीचे है, so you're not paying any taxes. तो आपको देखना पड़ेगा whether this particular investment is good for me considering my tax rate, or should I invest in a tax-free mutual funds or a tax-free investments. So that actually depend upon person to person or company to company, जैसे भी आप invest करें.
Absolutely. I think you should not never judge a book by its cover. Just because something looks very lucrative on the first place doesn't mean it's the right decision. It is always comparable, right? I mean, as he said, a 30% tax might feel that okay, return bhi to zyada mil raha hai. But what if there is something you get without any tax element to it, and that return is a decent return and you feel happy earning it? So again, consider these factors whenever you go for an investment decision in the future. Now, let us just quickly wind up by discussing the entire portfolio management process in brief, and then we'll be open to a few questions, whatever you guys wish to ask from us, right? Yeah, next slide, please, Amish. Yeah, thank you. Okay, yes, over to you, Saurabh.
I think, fine. So I think इसके अलावा, I think there are 8 points for this. I think first point I think is most important part is to understand the market. So I just give you a practical example. When we were doing the Paytm IPO, so हमने सोचा था कि हम लोग will first try to have a band of a 1500. But most of the people thought in the panel that 1500 is कम है क्योंकि Paytm is a biggest brand, is a big brand in the market. तो हमें 2000 plus रखना चाहिए price. But what happened in the first day जब ये stock list हुआ, price बहुत significantly fall कर गए market में. जब IPO list हुआ हमारा Paytm का, the reason was market ने सोचा कि Paytm huge losses कर रहा है पिछले सालों में. How this company would generate any profit in the near future and जो हमें return दे पाएगी. Investor देखते हैं future cash flow कितना आएगा उस share से. Let's say a company like a Nestle make a huge profit every year. So जब company आगे future में profit बनाएगी, it would able to pay their shareholders much more better returns rather than a company like a Paytm which do a significant loss every year. So this is one of the important factor everyone should understand before investing in any IPO or a new share. Whenever I invest in any IPO, I take care of these factors because these are the important factors. अगर कोई company पैसा कमाएगी नहीं तो वो आपको कैसे देगी? So this is one of the very important factors. जब आप कोई भी stock select करें या कोई भी mutual fund select करें, आप पहले ये understand करें कि उसका investment है कहाँ पर, वो कहाँ से पैसा कमा रहे हैं. If they are not able to make any money, they will not able to pay you. So that's a very important thing to take care before you start investing in any stock. So you have to understand the investment. So the first point you if you look at, it's say the specification of investment objective. उसका investment का objective क्या है? Whether it would invest in a highly risky stocks, whether invest in a particular segment of stock. So you have to understand कौन सा segment of stock में वो invest करेंगे. The first point is this. You want to take the next point? Okay.
Yeah, sure. So, as he said that, first objective is to identify your own investment objectives and what constraints do you have. For example, a person might invest depending on his income, right? He might depend, some people even invest on the basis of their particular preferences. You might have a preference towards a particular industry, right? You might want to have more stocks belonging to that industry, or your objective could be buying a car 5 years from now. So anything that supports that objective should be taken care of first, right? And the constraints that are there associated with that investment, for example, what is the transaction cost associated with it, whether there is a liquidity element to it or not. Then you quantify it as per the capital market expectations. That is, what is the capital market actually providing you? What are the expectations you have, and whether the capital market is able to bridge that gap that you feel that this is what I want to achieve and this is what is being provided by the capital market. Once that is in line, you choose the right mix of the asset classes. We've already decided the different types of asset classes, but again, this is the point when you decide where would you want to invest, what kind of asset mix suits your objectives and the constraints that you have. Again, I think, sorry, you can take it up from here. We formulate a portfolio strategy, then select the securities. Yeah.
The next is, I think, the fourth point, formulation of portfolio strategy. So strategy is actually depend upon कि आपको कौन से short term में invest करना है, आपको long term में invest करना है, whether you want to diversify into the particular market, you don't want to diversify. So understand from the perspective of investor or a trader, you cannot study all the stock. You cannot study all the market. Even a investors like me or a people who have spent 20 years in the market would only understand few segment of stocks or a few stocks only. So they don't have a there is around 200 plus companies which are listed in the market. उससे भी ज़्यादा हैं actually. These 2,500 are the companies which have a active trading in the market. 2500 कंपनी कोई भी नहीं समझ सकता. So they select the companies या सेगमेंट ऑफ कंपनीज जो जिसमें वो इन्वेस्ट करना चाहेंगे. तो स्ट्रैटेजी आपको डेवलप करनी पड़ेगी. योर पोर्टफोलियो कैसा होगा कि आपको कौन से सेगमेंट ऑफ बिजनेस में इन्वेस्ट करना है, ग्रोइंग सेगमेंट ऑफ बिजनेस में इन्वेस्ट करना है, आईपीओज में इन्वेस्ट करना है, और यू वांट टू डाइवर्सिफाई इनटू let's say gold or a mutual fund. So you have to come up with strategy. Selection of security is very important because this is a factor जहां से आप ये डिसाइड होगा कि आप प्रॉफिट बना पाएंगे या आप लॉस करेंगे. आपको बहुत रिसेंट एग्जांपल, आई एम ऑलवेज कोटिंग अदानी बिकॉज अदानी में हर इन्वेस्टर का पैसा अदानी में लगा होगा. अदानी वाज ग्रोइंग इन सच अ हाई रेट कि अदानी में सबका मेजॉरिटी इन्वेस्टर्स का पैसा लगा होगा. So if you feel that Adani in the future would grow, तो आप बोलोगे this is the best time to buy the shares of Adani because ये सबसे lowest price चल रहा है. Maybe in near future Adani grow and come up to the same price it was trading before. So आपने एक significant portion of पैसा कमा लिया. लेकिन I just give you an similar example of Yes Bank. Yes Bank का शेयर 250 प्लस पे ट्रेड कर रहा था, 250 प्लस पे, and all the investors felt that this will go to a next high of a 300 or 350. और उस टाइम बहुत लोगों ने इन्वेस्ट किया. I was also part of it, and the share fell to 13 rupees. So you understand कि आपको इतना significant समझना पड़ेगा मार्केट को to select a right stock, and no one is perfect. So even the best traders has 10:8 or 10:6, 7. So 10 stocks अगर वो खरीदते हैं तो 7 stock ही ठीक कर पाते हैं. The best traders do. My ratio is 7. Most of the trader I have met had made it 8 also, but this is the highest. अगर आप 10 stock खरीदते हैं, the chances of error is still 2 or 3 that you select incorrect. So this is a very important bit, selection of a security. I can give you a more brief कि कैसे एक स्टॉक को सेलेक्ट किया जाता है, इंडस्ट्री को कैसे पढ़ा जाता है, वेदर कौन से रेशियोज देखे जाते हैं, कौन सा मार्केट से कंपैरिजन किया जाता है कि दिस इज अ राइट टाइम टू बाय इट और यू हैव टू वेट फॉर सम टाइम टू बाय द स्टॉक. To just give you an example, I'm recently focusing on one of the stock called Uflex. Uflex is a company which focus on preparing those every plastic bottle you see, let's say Coke ki bottle hai or a Pepsi bottle is prepared by the company called Uflex. Uflex prepare all the packaging material, all the plastic bottle. So it's actually for ये तो लंदन की है, but ये प्लास्टिक की बॉटल सारी Uflex बनाता है इंडिया के लिए. इट्स अ लंदन ब्रांड, बट इंडिया के लिए सब वो यूफ्लेक्स बनाता है. सो आई एम फोकस्ड ऑन दैट कंपनी दीज डेज. द प्राइस हैज एक्चुअली फेल डाउन टू 470. बहुत बड़ा ब्रांड है because of some issues which is currently going on with the company, but still people feel that this is an undertraded stock and you should buy those stock now. This is not an investment advice to you guys. अभी आप जाके खरीद लो, but this is a stock which I'm currently focusing on, and I believe this stock would go like 700 800 जिससे उसके comparative companies trade कर रही हैं. तो कहाँ पे खरीदना है, whether the 470 पे, जैसे मैंने अभी स्टॉक ये खरीदा था पिछले 2 महीने पहले 520 का. अब द राइट वे अगर मैंने किया होता तो आई शुड हैव वेट फॉर इट शुड फेल टू 470 या और भी अगर कम आएगा तो मुझे उस टाइम पे खरीदना चाहिए था. बट नो वन नोज द राइट प्राइस, कहाँ पे घुसना है कहाँ पे नहीं घुसना. यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड द मार्केट, यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड दोस रेशियोज. वो एक सेपरेट स्टडी है. वी कैन हैव अ सेपरेट सेशन फॉर इट इफ काव्या अलाउज. सो
Yeah, we will.
this is the most important thing, selection of securities, what time you should enter. बहुत important है. प्रॉफिट बनेगा या नहीं बनेगा, लॉस बनेगा, वो सिर्फ इसी पे डिपेंडेंट है. पोर्टफोलियो एग्जीक्यूशन एंड पोर्टफोलियो रिवीजन इज टू थिंग्स. आपने एक स्टॉक खरीदा, आपने मल्टीपल स्टॉक्स में इन्वेस्ट किया, मल्टीपल म्यूचुअल फंड्स में इन्वेस्ट किया, डिपेंडिंग अपॉन आप हाउ मच यू विल टू सेव फ्रॉम ए सैलरी और योर इन्वेस्टमेंट, तो वो आपने किया एंड देन यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड कि कब उसको रिवीजन करने की नीड है. लेट्स से टू गिव एन एग्जांपल, Adani Wilmar is a company which was listed few months back. I took an IPO. I got an IPO for Adani Wilmar, but I have a belief in that stock that it will not last such a high. तो मैंने क्या किया, 3 महीने पहले वो स्टॉक सेल ऑफ कर दिया. इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू अंडरस्टैंड कि कब मुझे एग्जिट करना है, क्योंकि अगर आपने वो स्टॉक होल्ड करके रखा एंड मार्केट डज नॉट परफॉर्म वेल, तो आप लॉसेस भी क्रिएट करेंगे. सो यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड कि कब आपको एग्जिट करना है. एंटर करना इज वन बिगेस्ट स्ट्रैटेजी, बट एग्जिट करना इज ऑल्सो बिगेस्ट स्ट्रैटेजी. अदरवाइज आप प्रॉफिट में होने के बाद भी यू एंड अप बीइंग इन लॉसेस. सो दिस इज वन ऑफ द थिंग. परफॉर्मेंस इवैल्यूएशन इज अ थिंग कि आप ये देखें कि आप कितना प्रॉफिट बना पाए हैं, आपने लॉसेस किया है, whether you want to exit from a particular market, whether you want to exit from a particular mutual fund. जैसे बहुत सारे म्यूचुअल फंड if you see are not able to make much profit as they promise. So आपको देखना पड़ेगा कि मेरे को म्यूचुअल फंड लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए रखना है नहीं रखना है, या फिर I have to close this mutual fund. So बहुत ज्यादा इवैल्यूएशन डिपेंडिंग अपॉन टाइम और डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द रिसोर्सेज यू हैव, आपको वो इवैल्यूएट करते रहना पड़ेगा. मैं जनरली मंथली इवैल्यूएशन करता हूँ अपने पोर्टफोलियो का. सो डिपेंडिंग ऑन आप ट्रेडर हैं या आप इन्वेस्टर्स हैं, आपको एक इवैल्यूएशन करना पड़ेगा. केस टू केस बेसिस पे बहुत डिपेंड करता है. इफ यू हैव एनी स्पेसिफिक क्वेश्चंस, आई थिंक आई एम हैप्पी टू आंसर दोस.
Yeah, so anyone, any questions at this stage? क्या तो सब कुछ समझ आया या कुछ भी समझ नहीं आया? मुझे तो यही लग रहा है.
मैं एक बताना चाहूंगा, जब मैंने ये स्टार्ट किया था इन्वेस्टिंग करना अराउंड 6 years 7 years बैक, इतने सारे ना प्लेटफॉर्म्स नहीं होते थे और कोई गाइड करने वाला नहीं होता था. एंड देवर नो वन टू हेल्प मी आउट कि मुझे कैसे करना चाहिए. दिस इज अ प्लेटफॉर्म जो आपको एक अपॉर्चुनिटी दे रहा है टू अंडरस्टैंड कि आपको कैसे स्टार्ट करना चाहिए, आपको क्या करना चाहिए. तो जब मैंने स्टार्ट किया था, मैंने सिर्फ बुक से पढ़ा है और मैंने हिट एंड ट्रायल किया था बहुत, ठीक है. एंड देन आई स्टार्टेड लर्निंग थिंग्स. एंड ये सब प्लेटफॉर्म वुड गिव यू अ बेटर विजिबिलिटी, आपको कैसे करना चाहिए चीजें विद एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ पीपल लाइक मी एंड काव्या. सो आपको ये सब ना बहुत हेल्प करेगा, जो प्रैक्टिकली मार्केट में अवेलेबल नहीं है. मार्केट में एवरीवन इज प्लेइंग द मनी गेम. इफ यू गो टू एनीवन फॉर आस्किंग फॉर द इन्वेस्टमेंट एडवाइस, दे वुड कंसिडर देयर बेनिफिट फर्स्ट. So मेरा कोई I'm not linked with ET money or something like that. So कोई benefit नहीं है. So anything you will learn would really help in building your portfolio.
Absolutely, guys. I think it's on us how we learn, how we evaluate ourselves, and then we realize that when we go out, there are so many people who might not guide you in the right direction, but we are not like really trying to say much about that. All we are trying to tell you is that this is the time, when we started, when we wanted to start our investment journey, we were looking here and there for the right people to guide us. And trust me, you've got all of that in one place. Or rather, if you coordinate, we can build an environment in which we can we can learn from each other. You are the ones who let us know if there is still anything you want help with. If there is a session you want us to plan together on any other topic, we would certainly try and find our time from our busy schedules for that. So again, thanks a lot, Saurabh, for your valuable time. I think I would open the floor for any questions in case there are any. And the next time we meet, we'll also try and have a lot of practical examples from screener.in. That is what we decided. But for that, we need your coordination. So we would like to go ahead with those who are actually very serious about learning and, who value time more than anything. So guys, any questions, anything, any feedback, we are open to that. So over to you people, and thank you so much for your time, Saurabh. Means a lot.
Thank you so much.
anyone who wants to ask anything, even if it's not related to the session, if you want any sort of career advice, you want to ask something from him particularly, feel free to ask.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes, Umesh, please go ahead.
Saurabh sir, you have 10 plus years of experience. Have you thought about to start your own firm or own company?
So I have my own firm. So it's actually a chartered accountant firm. I'm a chartered accountant. I did my CFA also. I'm a second cleared CFA level 2. Unfortunately, I'm not able to give CFA level 3, but I have my own company. I have own set of clients to manage a portfolio.
That's nice, sir. And can you guide me how I can build my investment firm?
See, investment firm, I can give you a brief, but if you want to connect with me separately, I can do that. So it's actually more of trust-based business where if you have already built your portfolio and you have a history of getting a better returns, people would come and trust you and give you money to invest on their behalf.
Yes.
It's actually depend upon how much time you have spent in the market and how positive returns in the future in the past you have created. So no one would come and give you money on the first day. You have to spend a lot of time in the market. Like I've spent 10 years in the market, still only the few set of people would only trust me. Market में आप जाओगे आपको कोई पैसा नहीं देगा.
Exactly.
It's actually depend upon कि आपने market में कितना trust बनाया है लोगों के लिए.
Yes.
So that set of people you have to create, and there are a lot of SEBI requirements also which you need to take care of. But if
Yes.
you still want to do that, just give me a shout. I'm happy to help you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Hello.
Umesh, I hope you understood what was taught today, right?
Yes, yes,
I
sir.
will be asking you questions on this. Okay. Yes. Anyone, anything else?
Yes. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, Naresh, please go ahead.
Ma'am, I ask to sir and you. I am BCom graduate, but I want to make my career in finance. So, which MBA I choose? Financial management or banking and finance?
I think Pia had did MBA, तो वो ज़्यादा आपको अच्छे से बता पाएंगी. But for my understanding, it's more of so I personally believe कि आपने MBA कौन से फील्ड से किया है वो बहुत ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है. आपने MBA कहाँ किया है वो कहाँ से किया है वो बहुत ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है. So I actually feel this because MBA is more of developing your personality and having a better connections with the people. So अगर आपको लगता है कि MBA मुझे IIM अहमदाबाद मिल रहा है और I don't know IIM अहमदाबाद do this or not, but IIM अहमदाबाद मिल रहा है तो I would prefer IIM अहमदाबाद for any field because I would have a better possibility of my career and a better possibility कि मुझे ज़्यादा अच्छे लोग मिलेंगे वहाँ पर और I will carry that brand everywhere. So बहुत important है brand carry करना. जैसे whenever I go to any client and I say that I am from KPMG, I'm representing KPMG. So KPMG has that worth or that brand in the market that people ready to invest because of the name of the KPMG. तो आपको वो बहुत देखना पड़ेगा कि आपको कॉलेज कौन सा मिल रहा है. आई थिंक फर्स्ट प्रेफरेंस शुड बी ऑफ द कॉलेज एंड देन यू शुड थिंक अबाउट द कोर्स. तो अगर आपको ऐसा कुछ अच्छा कॉलेज मिल रहा है बहुत ज्यादा विद अ डिफरेंट कोर्स, आई थिंक यू शुड गो फॉर इट.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would just say, I mean, I'll personally get in touch with you on this, Naresh. But again, MBA is not just everything in life, right? There are so many alternatives to doing an MBA. I mean, I have encountered people who are not MBAs. They've chosen to do their CFA directly after their graduation and have landed at the same place. So, बहुत important है that what is your objective behind saying this that I want to do an MBA? Matlab, would you like to do it just because you feel that it will get you a good placement, or do you think that the curriculum of MBA is designed in a way which will help you develop in life, right? Because there are so many examples that we have amongst us who are not even graduates or MBAs. I'm not discouraging you that don't go for an MBA, but again, I would as a mentor like to see other aspects too, that what led you to think that you want to do an MBA, or if you've already started working on that. So I'll get back to you on that. Okay, don't worry.
Okay, thank you both of you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Yes, any further questions, guys, or else we can wind it up?
Should we close if there's nothing?
Yeah, I guess I'll just wait for another 1 minute. Shashank, were you trying to speak something? Anything, anyone? Another 1 or 2 minutes, maybe if you can even write in the chat box, or else we'll just close the session. Yeah,
Yes, ma'am. I have a question, but out of the topic of
it's fine.
from.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No problem.
Yeah. Hello, sir. I have a question that uh, in the current environment of the layoffs, the aspirant like us who are looking for the opportunities in the corporate sector, mainly in the finance domain. So how can I can convince myself that I have to continue in the I have to go with this finance sector in the mainly in the corporate sector, so that I have that in terms of job security or in terms of progressive career paths.
Yeah, देखो,
Because
see, layoffs जो भी हो रहे हैं, so there's two reasons. Broadly, there's two reasons which I can understand. पहला, I feel that a lot of layouts are not from the finance segments. ठीक है, अदर देन फाइनेंस बहुत सारे ले ऑफ हो रहे हैं, जैसे जो टेक के लोग हैं, मेजोरिटी टेक्नोलॉजी सेगमेंट के लोग बहुत ज्यादा ले ऑफ होते हैं. फाइनेंस जनरली इतना ज्यादा ले ऑफ्स नहीं है. देयर आर फ्यू सिचुएशंस फॉर द फाइनेंस ले ऑफ आल्सो, व्हिच इज ईदर बिकॉज उनका कोई स्टार्टअप नहीं चल रहा था, ठीक है, स्टार्टअप में ह्यूज लॉसेस थे, फंडिंग नहीं मिली. देयर आर अदर रीजंस फॉर दो स्टार्टअप जहाँ पे फाइनेंस लोगों ने लॉस की अपनी